Okay, this question asks us to sketch this curve. Now, we know from earlier this chapter that we can rewrite the curve as such. Y plus 3 all squared is equal to 3 squared. And actually, if we wanted to be a bit more precise, we wouldn't write it as 4x squared. We would write it as x squared over a half squared. And that would tell us that this is an ellipse with center 0, negative 3, and our horizontal distance, let's draw it out. The horizontal diameter would be 2 times 3, and the vertical diameter would be 2 times 3, and the horizontal diameter would be 2 times 3 times a half, so it would be 3 in itself. So let's just sketch some of that out. This is our center, 0, 3. This is also going to cut at 0, 0 and 0, negative 6. Horizontally, it's going to go out 1.5 units, so this is negative 1.5, negative 3, and the same distance on the other side, so this is 1.53, and then we can connect it all together with, hopefully, a smooth curve. So it wasn't that smooth. I'd expect better from you guys, but this is roughly what it will look like. So that's one way of looking at it, but that's not the only way. We can actually look at this as a transformation on our curve x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. So what's the first transformation that happens? Well, as always, we're going to operate on x first, and x gets scaled. Now it gets scaled not just by this factor half here, it also gets scaled by this 3 over here. So we're actually going to divide through by 3, and what we get as our scale factor is 2 over 3. So we get, not as a scale factor, but we get a factor of 2/3. So we get 2/3 x all squared plus y squared is equal to 1. So what is this? This is scaling parallel to the x-axis by factor, and then we invert it. 3 over 2. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Now, do we have to translate x? No. What about when we deal with y? Well, y is a little bit of a tricky case here. So if we look over here, we'd have to divide through by 3 as well, right? Just at this part. So we'd get y plus 3 all over 3 squared. If we simplify just this part, there is an x term as well, but we're not looking at that. So this is actually equal to 1/3 y plus 1 squared. So actually, our translation is going to be by -1 units in the y direction. So what does that mean we do? We change y. So here it's 2/3 x squared. Now we translate our y, and we get y plus 1 squared is equal to 1. So what's this? This is a translation by -1 units in the y direction. And now we've got to deal with the other part here, this 1/3. So we do one last step. So this is still 2 over 3x all squared plus, and now we scale y. And we need to scale it by a factor of 3, so we multiply by 1 over 3. So this is a scaling parallel to the y-axis by factor 1 over 1 over 3, so factor 3. And that would give us precisely what we thought. We can also check this on GeoGebra just by keying in the expression that we want. So the expression that we started with was y plus 3 squared is equal to 9 minus 4 times x to the power of 2. We push enter and you can see that's exactly what we've got. We've got an ellipse centered on 0, 3, negative 3 with intercepts 0, 0 and negative, 0, negative 6 and a horizontal diameter, a horizontal radius of 1.5 units as we predicted.